getting the course completion certification now.
Okay.
But this you have to actually contact the Durgasoft Institute only, because I have no idea. But my only task is given is I have to train you the Linux administration from start to end. And my course will be covering in detailed format from start to end. Nothing will be skipped. Every day you will be given some tasks to complete, just not your reading. You will be given some tasks you have to practice also. Okay.
Okay,
So and one more thing. What is your qualification, man, Devi?
Qualification is BCom, sir.
BCom. Okay. You are actually trying to from BCom. You are trying to switch over to Linux administration so that you can get a job. That is the thing.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any knowledge about Linux operating systems and other things like programming or Linux administration or other things? Any other knowledge, freehand knowledge?
Hello, sir.
Tell me.
Actually, I worked as a data entry operator, sir.
What?
Data entry operator, sir.
Okay, data entry operator. Okay.
With the OS of Linux, sir.
Okay, I got it. In Linux, you have worked as a data entry operator. OS.
Yeah. Fourth version, sir. That also.
Okay, no problem. You are going to learn this Linux completely, administration. First, we will be, okay, because other people are still up to join. I'll just give you a brief intro what we are going to study today. Today means what is the course content of this, okay? As you can see, can you see my screen, I suppose?
Yes, sir.
Now you can see my screen, I suppose?
Yes, sir. Linux networking.
Yes. So, Varaprasad, you are from north or south? I suppose you are from Telugu or south?
Telugu, sir.
I'm from Karnataka. I'm also Telugu. Okay. See, ఇంకా క్లాస్ అటెండీస్ ఉన్నారు జాయిన్ అవ్వడానికి అప్పటి వరకు మీరు మాట్లాడుతున్నారు కాబట్టి ఐ జస్ట్ వాంట్ టు గివ్ యూ బ్రీఫ్ ఇంట్రో ఓకే
సార్ అలాగే కోర్స్ అయిపోయినాక
చెప్పండి
కోర్స్ అయిపోయినాక మనకి శాలరీస్ ఎంత వరకు రావచ్చు సార్ ఇది
డిపెండింగ్ ఆన్ వాట్ యూ యాక్చువల్లీ ఇది క్లాస్ అయిన తర్వాత మాట్లాడదాం ఎందుకంటే దిస్ ఇస్ ద పాయింట్ షుడ్ బి డిస్కస్ ఆఫ్టర్ ద ఎండ్ ఆఫ్ ద క్లాస్ డెమో సెషన్ అయిన తర్వాత చెప్తాను
ఓకే సార్ సరే సార్
Okay, because this is not the point where we actually discuss about it. So today Devi garu యాక్చువల్లీ మీరు కాకుండా లేట్ అయిపోయింది ఇంకో అతను కూడా జాయిన్ అయ్యారు ఆయన కూడా మన ఇంకా రెడీ ఉన్నారో లేదు తెలియదు ఒక్క సెకండ్ ఇవ్వండి ఆయన చాట్ చేస్తున్నాను మీకు మాట్లాడు హలో సురేంద్ర దేవి ప్రసాద్
సార్ చెప్పండి
థింగ్ ఏంటంటే అతను ఇంకా రెడీలో లేడు సో 2 minutes ఇవ్వండి అప్పటి వరకు మీకు డిస్కషన్ పెట్టుకున్నాం సార్ వీ విల్ స్టార్ట్ లినక్స్ అడ్మినిస్ట్రేషన్ మీకు లినక్స్ అడ్మినిస్ట్రేషన్ ముందు చెప్పాల్సింది ఏంటంటే లినక్స్ అడ్మినిస్ట్రేషన్ నేర్చుకోవాలంటే ఫస్ట్ థింగ్ లినక్స్ ని ఎట్లా ఆపరేట్ చేయాలి లినక్స్ లోపల ఏమేమి ఉంటాయి వాట్ ఆర్ ద డిఫరెంట్ కమాండ్స్ what are the different setups, what are the different things available in Linux for the basic operation. Since you want to operate on Linux, you want to work on Linux, you need to have little basic idea, overview of what exactly Linux is or Unix is, and apart from that, how the Linux command lines are there. It is very much different from, because Windows operating system is a GUI-based operating system. Windows operating being a GUI-based operating system, so it is very easy. But Linux being a CUI as well as GUI-based operating system, so Linux being a CUI-based operating system, we are actually going to work on using commands only. Most of the time, we are going to use commands only. So
Yeah.
in order to make you understand what are the commands, what are the different concepts and architectures available in Linux, and then first we are going to actually take care of this Linux administration in the format of basics of Unix and Linux, where
Yeah.
we are going to discuss these 10 topics: overview of Linux, effective command line, Linux effective command line, files and directories and listing, editor, copying, deleting, renaming and deleting files, linking
Yeah.
files and filters.
Yes.
And apart from that, advanced filters, file and directory permissions, how to create a group and how to create users and as well as groups. Later, we will come to Linux administration standalone administration, where we are
Yes.
actually configuring and administrating single system, not a server system, a single system.
Yes.
So different concepts have been actually differentiated this way. Linux standalone administration will
Okay, sir.
have these topics: disk management of file system, booting process, run level management, group and user management, ACLs, which is access control list, package management like yum and RPM, using which you actually install your operating system. Devi sir, your voice is actually, I am muting your. So RAID level, swap implementation, process management, and backup and restore. Apart from that, how to schedule automated jobs. Okay. Next comes the Linux networking part, where how do I configure Linux operating system in a network? These are the things. How do I configure Linux operating system in a network? Networking tools, and then comes the services part like FTP server configuration, NFS server configuration, Samba server, DNS server, Apache server, DHCP, and last will be Kickstart. Kickstart is actually the automated operating system installation in a network, not directly. So, maybe sir, now you got to know what is the course content of it. Shall we
Yeah, sir.
start? Dilip, Surendra, I am going to start the class now. Devi sir, I'm starting the class now.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
I'm unmuting muting all the connections, so disturbance will be there. So I'm muting the connection. Surendra, I'm starting the class. Is it ready, Surendra? Surendra, see. Today's class objectives will be these things. Today in our class, because this is the first demo session, we are going to discuss in the first and second demo session, we are going to discuss these topics. Today's class objective, first thing, what is software and what is the different classifications of software. As you can see here, first thing is the software classification. Later, we are going to see different OS classifications. Okay, what is the different OSs like multi-user, multitasking OS, client OS, server OS. These are the different classes we are going to see in OS classification. Next we are going to go through history of Unix and Linux operating system. How Unix came into existence, how Linux came into existence. Later, after that, we are going to see what are the components of a Linux operating system, because here we are actually ready to learn, here to learn Linux administration. So we need to have a good understanding of its components and what are the different components of the Linux operating system like kernel, shell, utility programs, and etc. will be taken care of. Okay. Later, we are also going to see the architecture of Linux operating system and how these different components of the Linux operating system like kernel, hardware, kernel, shell, utility program, user enabled applications, how they do actually work and interact in order to give you the final output. Okay, now we will start. Today being the first selection, today being our first demo session, we are going to start with software classification. See here, we have made a small pictorial information of software classification. See here. So here you can see here, software can be classified. Here the software, we know what is the software. Software is a set of programs which help us to sorry for the disturbance. Okay. So first thing, software. We know what is a software. Set of programs, we can call it a software. So what are the different classifications of software here? We will take care of that. We will actually look into that. So software can be classified into two types. This is the first classification, which is called a system software. Second classification is application software. Okay. Then coming to the difference between this system software and application software. Okay, application software, we can tell this application software. What exactly is the application software? This is the first question. 1 minute now. Okay, first we're going to see what is the meaning of a application software. Application software is a software used by the users of the computer, like example like MS Office, media player, or the different kind of application software. Okay, application software is a software which is used by the user in order to achieve their own work, etc. Like creating a resume using MS Office, playing a audio or a video using any media player like VLC or whatever. These are the application software. But these application software cannot directly interact with the hardware. They need some support, or actually they need some interface which actually helps them to do this. So these application software are dependent on system software in order to achieve this. Okay. Now coming to what is the system software? System software is software which actually coordinates between the application or user application or user with the hardware. System software will actually is the software which actually gives us application interface between different application software working on it with the hardware. Suppose you want to actually print a printout which you have created using application software like Word. So application software can directly interact with the printer. These application software require system software in order to work. Okay. See here, we actually made a small information regarding what is the software classification. Okay. See here, we can see system software means a set of programs. Software can be classified into two things: system software and application software. See, application software is a software which are installed by the user in order to achieve some tasks like MS Office or media player. System software is the software which acts as an interface between the user and the hardware. Okay, system software is a software which acts as an interface between the user and hardware. And the main component of the system software is called the operating system. Here we are actually here to learn Linux administration, which is an operating system. So system software is the software which acts as an interface between the user and the hardware. So coming to example of the system software is operating system. Okay, now coming to next question is, what are the classifications of the system software? Can this system software or operating system be classified? Yes. Can this operating system be classified? Yes. We can actually classify the system software into two. We can actually classify the system software into two types. Okay. What is the system software classification? First, the classification of system software can be done in two ways. System software is COI based and some system softwares are GUI based. What is a COI based? What is the meaning of a COI based? COI based software is a character user interface or command user interface software, where whenever you want to do any of the operation, you submit the command, you actually type the command instead of using it graphically, not using click and mouse. So COI software. This software is called character user interface software or COI based. Second classification of system software can be actually called GUI based software. What is a GUI? GUI stands for graphical user interface software. Okay, and both the system softwares like CUI based software and GUI based software can be classified again into two types of things. Single user software, single user system software, multi-user CUI software, or single user graphical software, multi-user graphical software. We will see the classifications here. See, we got to know there are two types of software classified as system and application. We are interested here with the system software because we are here to learn operating system is a part of system software. So this system software has been classified. This system software has been classified here like this. This system software are classified like this. Okay, CUI based and CUI based. So this system software CUI based and this system software is GUI based. Okay. Now each CUI based software, which is actually character user interface software, can be actually even subclassified into single user operating system and multi-user operating system. Okay, means the character user interface where there is no graphical interface, that OS can again be classified into single user OS and multi-user OS. Now we will see what are the different examples of of this single user OS and multi-user OS. Just give me a second. Okay, as you can see here, the system software example for different single user operating system CUI based are given here. Example: single character user interface, single user operating system means at any single point of time one user can work on that operating system. The command, the operating system example is MS-DOS. Microsoft Disk Operating System is a single user character character user interface operating system. When next the example coming for next example is for multi-user example for multi-user character user interface operating system. Unix and also Linux can also be called the character user interface as well as, because Unix only is a character user interface, but Linux supports graphical also. So the example for multi-user character-based operating system is Unix and Linux. Next example coming for GUI-based operating system. Here you can see there is a GUI-based operating system. So this is the one GUI-based operating system can again be classified single user operating systems and multi-user operating systems. And examples for single user operating system in GUI-based. Example for GUI-based single user operating system is Windows 98. Okay, first example is Windows 98, Win XP. Okay, these are single user graphical based operating system. Next is Windows 8, etc. Okay, now we are coming to GUI based multi-user operating system. Examples for GUI based multi-user operating systems can be taken like this. Okay, what is the multi-user operating system? GUI based. First example can be Linux, because Linux can come into both CUI based and it also supports GUI based. It is both graphical, it is both character user also. But Unix is a pure character user interface only, there is no GUI. Flavors of Unix like Linux and other things are GUI based, but originally Unix is a CUI based operating system only. Second of example of Linux multi-user GUI based operating system is Windows 2003 server. Next example is Win 2008 server. Next example is Win 2001-2 server, like this. Okay, now you got to understand what are the different software classifications and how they are actually classified as GUI based, CUI based, how the same CUI based and GUI based are subclassified as single user and multi-user. Okay, and we have seen what are the different examples which actually tend to single user, multi-user. Okay, now my question is, okay, can everybody are everybody okay with this explanation? Is everybody Is everybody okay with the explanation, or you have any doubts? Please ask me. Any doubts? Please ask. Devi Prasad, any doubts? Dilip, any doubts? Nikhil? Devi Prasad, any doubts? Dilip sir, Dilip, any doubts? You can please ask me. Okay, no doubts. I am actually going forward with the next thing. Okay, now we got to understand how the softwares are classified. Second classification, now we have seen how the softwares are classified. Next thing, we have actually started with the OS classification, software classification. Now we will see what is the OS classification and other things. Okay, single user operating systems. Okay, now coming to operating systems. Operating systems are again classified because operating systems are again classified like this. Okay, now you can see operating systems are classified these ways. First is a single user operating system. So first other things are multi-user operating system. What are the single user operating system? What are the different multi-user operating systems? You can see. Okay, each single user operating system again be classified as single tasking operating system and multitasking operating system. And multi-user operating systems again be classified as multitasking operating system. What is the meaning of this? What is the meaning of this single user operating system and multi-user? Single user operating system is an operating system where at any point of time only a single user can log in and work. Means only a single user can log in at a time and can work. Multi-user operating systems are classified as a server operating, are also called a server operating system, where at any single point of time multiple users can connect and do multiple tasks. Like Linux operating system, Unix operating systems are multi-user multitasking operating systems. Windows 2003 operating systems, all the server operating systems are multi-user. All the client-based operating systems are single-user operating systems. Okay, we will see the examples for this single-user, single-tasking operating systems here. The first classification, first example for single-user, single-tasking operating systems are like this. What is the single-tasking operating system? MS-DOS. Example is MS-DOS. Microsoft Disk Operating System was a single-user, single-tasking operating system. Okay. What are the examples for single-user, multitasking operating system? Any idea? We can go with a single. What is a single multitasking? At any point of time, a single user, though connected, can perform multiple actions on the operating system. He can be listening to music, he can be editing a file, he can be chatting with others at the same time. Everything supports. Okay. What are the different examples of the multitasking operating system? Any idea? Windows, XP, multitasking, but single user at any point in time, only one person can log in. Okay. Win8. Okay. Win10. Okay. Win10 operating systems like this. Okay. Apart from that, single user, single tasking operating systems can be classified. Okay. Now we are coming to multi-user, multitasking operating systems. Multi-user means at any point of a given point of time, multiple users, any number of users can be connecting to the server and can be executing their own different tasks at the same time. So examples for multi-user, multitasking operating systems are these things. What is a multi-user multitasking? First example can be Linux. Second can be Unix. Okay. Then comes Windows, 2003 servers, all the server operating systems, etc. Okay, Win 2012 of OS server. Okay, and all server OSs are multi-user multitask. Okay, means what is the advantage of this multi-user multitasking operating systems is multiple users can actually work multiple tasks and at the same time share all the resources properly of the operating system or the server properly. Means it can be a audio, it can be video, it can be a print, it can be internet, it can be a project or any other. So these are the different classifications of multi-user and multitasking operating systems. Okay. Now we got to understand what are the differences. Now we have actually finished OS classification, and the last OS classification is also there. Okay, what is the last OS classification? I'm showing here. What is the last kind of OS classification? Here. What is the different classification is like here. What is the last classification? Okay. Okay. So last OS classification is how do I classify different OSs into client-based operating systems and server-based operating. This is also one of kind of a classification. You can see here. What is the different OS classification? We have seen two classifications. This is my third classification. This is also one kind of OS classification. Here we can see what is the main differences between a client operating system. What is the different classification is client based OS. Okay. Second is server based OS. This is the second classification, third classification. And examples for client based OS. Examples if you are taking for client based OS, Win98, okay, Win XP, okay, Win 10, etc. What are the classification? Next classification is server based classification. What are the server based classification means? And one of the operating system here, one of the last examples which I am actually giving is Linux operating system. Linux operating system is both a client-based operating system and Windows and server-based operating system. But Unix operating system is originally a server-based. Okay, remember Linux is a client-based operating system and a server-based. Linux can be configured to work as a client OS and Linux can be configured to work as a server OS. But examples of the server operating systems are like this. Okay, examples. Linux again is example for server based because Linux is a both client, Unix, Windows servers, etc. Okay, now we got to understand. Now we got to understand what is the different classifications OS. Okay, different classifications of OS. Okay, now our objective, today objective, we saw software classification, how different softwares are classified into system software, application software, how the OS different classifications of OS as server OS, client OS, and single user and multi-user OS, single tasking and multitasking OS. These are the different classifications. Now we will come to history of Linux and Unix. Okay, now we will come to history of Linux and OS. Any doubts? Any doubts? Please, you can please use the chat box. Any doubt? You can please use the chat box. Okay. Any doubts? Please use the chat box. Okay. Now till now we saw. Okay. Now we will saw any OS classification, software classification. Now we will see history of Unix and Linux. Okay. See here. Okay, see here. Now we will start with history of Unix operating system. Okay. See, and one thing, it is this just a formality to teach what is Unix operating system history, Linux operating system history, what are the components. Most of the things, these are the things just for our purpose or a formality purpose. Most of the time, these things are never asked in interview or these are not so important. The important topic starts when we start the original Linux administration topics are more important. These are just a formality that we have to take these things like what is the history of Unix, what is the history of Linux, what are the components. Okay. Okay. Now we will see Unix operating system history. Okay, before the Unix operating system came into existence, way back in 1973, way back in 1973 here, like way back in 1973, there was a operating system called DOS, which was a single user, single task. मतलब एक time पे at any point of time only a single user can connect only, and he can perform a single task. Okay, this was actually next came Multics operating system, which I'm highlighting here. Multics operating system came. Okay, this was a project which was undertaken by AT&T Bell Labs, GE, and MIT in association with AT&T Bell Labs, GE, and MIT, which I am actually highlighting here. AT&T Bell Labs, GE, MIT. Okay, this project was taken, which was actually created way back in 1965. This was a Multics project. Multics full form is Multiplex Information Computing System. Okay, this multiplex information computing system was the name of this project. The what is the task of this project is you want to create an operating system which supports more than single user, so that the resources of the system or server or any of the computer can be used better. So this operating system, this Multics project was taken way back in 1965. Here, the operating system was coded totally in 100% assembly language, and this operating system used to support only 2 users. Okay, later this was also dumped because actually it is not so effective. Later, next project was taken as Uniplex computing system, which is called as Unix here. This was the third variant, which is called Uniplex information computing system. This was actually taken in AT&T Bell Labs. This coding of this Uniplex computing system project was done in 80% C language and 20% assembly language. This Uniplex computing system supported more than 2 users. Okay, this was supporting more than 2 users. Means at a time more than 2 users were able to log into the system and work. Later, this was also dumped, and in 1973, Unix was the operating system was created, written 100% in C language. As you can see, Unix operating system came into existence way back in 1973, written totally in that time high-level language, C language, 100%, which supports multi-user and multitasking. And Unix operating system, which was developed in 1973, was totally CUI based, and it supported multi-user and it is multitasking operating system. And this Unix operating system version was called the base or the core version. Okay, what is this called? This Unix operating system version was the base version or core version. Core Unix or base version of base version. Okay. Now we got to understand the Unix operating system, how it came into existence. First came DOS, next came the Multics project, next came Unix project, next came Unix, which was written way back in 1970. Okay. Now we got to understand how Unix came into existence, what are the different precursors to Unix operating system. Now, okay. Now as we see here, I have made a detailed notes of the things which will be passed on to you. Don't need to worry. See, OS classification, I have made a note how the single user, multi-user operating system classification I made. Now I actually also prepared Unix history. See, coming with Multics operating system, later came Unix operating system, later came Unix. Okay, so this Unix operating system developed in 1973, which was the base version or the core version, was distributed to different universities for educational purposes. And over hundreds of other people added and improved upon the system, and it spread to the commercial world. Okay. Then when it spread to the commercial world, dozens of different Unix flavors started to appear. Means original Unix kernel was taken over and modified accordingly by different universities, different persons, as well as different organizations, and they created their own Unix flavors. Okay, they created their own Unix flavor. As you can see here, different vendors which have actually taken the original Unix kernel. As you can see here, I'm highlighting this. The original Unix kernel was actually adapted, means taken over or adapted by different multinationals and organizations to develop their own Unix operating system. Now you got to understand, original Unix, though developed in 1973, was later taken over or taken and by different multinational and research organizations. Multinationals are very big, prominent companies during that time, and other research organizations, and they develop their own Unix operating system. Okay. Any doubts? Please. Any doubts? Please use. Any doubts? Please ask me. I am actually using the chat box. Any doubts, man? Till now, any doubts? Any clarity you want? Anyone? Anyone? Varaprasad, any doubt?
No, sir.
Able to understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. See, Dilip, are able to understand? Dilip, one more person. Dilip is there. Dilip is able to understand. Nikhil, you can unmute your mic and just talk to me. Interact with me. Dilip, what's the doubt? Nikhil, what's your doubt?
No, sir, I do not have any doubts.
You don't have any doubts now? Okay, fine. Dilip, what is your doubt? Dilip, what is your doubt? You can unmute and then ask. Okay. I think Dilip has no doubts. Okay, we will go on. So now see, the original Unix kernel developed by different was developed in 1973, but was a core version. But the original Unix kernel was taken over, or multinationals have taken this research and code and everything, developed their Unix operating system. Now we are seeing here, as you can see here, this is the vendor, this is the operating system variant. These are the actually original Unix variants, original Unix flavors. The original Unix flavor was taken over by AT&T Bell Labs, which is called American Telephone and Telegraph Company, and they released their variant as System 5 Release 3. Okay, vendor name who has taken this operating system Unix original, modified it accordingly. The AT&T Bell Labs people are the scientists, and they created their operating system called System 5 Release 3. Same way, Sun Microsystems was also a very big multinational, has taken the original kernel of the Unix and created their own Sun Solaris operating system. IBM is also one of the company. As you can see here, I'm highlighting IBM as one of the company which has actually taken this operating system and created its own AIX operating system. SG and SCO Unix, BSD, HP, Hewlett Packard are also taken the original Unix kernel and created their HPUX. Okay. Original Unix, which was developed, the core version in 1973 was the base version. But these vendors which have taken and the operating system released, these though are based on the original Unix kernel, may be modified, but these are commercial implementation. These are not free. And these are hardware specific. If you wanted to run Sun Microsystems software like Sun Solaris, you can't actually install it on normal system. You need to have Sun Spark machine. And this operating system is not free. It is a licensed version. You need to pay for it. Okay. IBM AIX is a paid version of the IBM operating system AIX. HPUX is the operating system developed by HP, but though it is a Unix variant, it is a commercial operating system. And these all operating systems, though developed in 1980s, are all commercial versions and not freely available. Okay. Only thing is that Linux is a free implementation of the same Linux, but Linux is a freeware, open source and freeware. Code is openly available, source code is openly available, which can be taken and modified. And operating system is freely available. Okay, that way Linux is better because these variants of the Unix operating systems are all commercial and are hardware specific. Linux is not hardware specific and it is open source and freeware. That is the main important why everybody switching to Linux operating system instead of Unix. Okay, note these Unix here, because I made a note here, note 1. These above Unix variant, though based on the original Unix operating system, are licensed and not freely available and are modified to their requirement. And these operating systems, which are actually shown here, vendor and operating systems, are hardware specific. You need to purchase their own specific hardware in order to run their operating system. Okay, first thing. Now you got to understand how the Unix came into existence, what are the different vendors and flavors of Unix operating system, and how they have come up. Now we will go to Linux operating system. Now we will see what is the Linux operating system history. history of Linux operating system, which I made here very clearly. Linux operating system is made of Linux kernel and other GNU based application software. Okay, Linux kernel was actually developed by a scientist called or a developer called Linus Torvalds way back in 1991 in Helsinki University. This kernel was based on a obscure means not so popular Unix flavor called Minix operating system. See here, original Linux kernel was based on this Minix operating system. So later when the kernel was developed, this kernel was actually source code was actually distributed to Open Source Foundation, where different open source enthusiasts have taken up this kernel and developed many user space applications. When all these kernels and user space applications like upon applications were developed and integrated with the operating system, then a complete Linux operating system was developed. This operating system came way back in 1994. Okay, way back in 1994. And one of the main funda of the Linux operating system from the starting is Linux is a open source, freeware, open source, freeware. Code is source code is totally freely available, freeware, no need to pay for it. Okay, and what is this POSIX? What is the POSIX? Here I have made a small heading like what is POSIX? POSIX is a standard adopted by GNU or Open Software Source Foundation to maintain open source application or configuration interoperability. What is the meaning of this is though the source code taken by different organizations, the same Linux source code should be actually complied with the POSIX standards, the settings of the POSIX, which says that applications should be, though created in different operating systems of the plain flavor of Linux, should be interoperable. You can take the configuration file of that operating system and put it in other operating system and run it, and it should run. These are the things. Any doubts, man? Now I finished with the history of. Now I finished with the history of Unix operating system and vendors and how the different Linux vendors came into existence. I even finished what is the history of Linux operating system and how it came into existence, and what is the main funda, how it is open source, how it is freeware, everything. Okay, and now we are going to see any doubts you can please raise in the chat box. Okay, now see what are the next question. No doubts are coming, so now we are just going to the next thing. What is the different Linux vendors? Like Unix has also different flavors from different vendors. What are the different vendors? What are the different Linux vendors? Means what are the Linux was taken by it. So when are the different vendors of Linux operating systems are like this. Okay, listed vendors and distributors of Linux operating. The original Linux operating system distributed by Open Source Foundation or Open Software Foundation was taken by different organizations. First one, prominent one is Red Hat Linux. Second prominent, you can say also SUSE Linux, SUSE. Ubuntu is one of the flavor of the Linux operating system from Ubuntu. This was a vendor. Fedora is also one of the organization, open source organization, which actually creates open source Linux server operating system in the name of Fedora, and version now current version is 34. Mandate, CentOS. Okay, so these are the different vendors and distributors. There are multiple hundreds and hundreds. There are multiple, not just 1, 2, or 3. There are few 50 or 100 different distributions, prominent distributions of the Linux operating systems. Okay, now we got to understand Linux operating system vendor, and now we will see what are the different editions. What is the history of the editions of the different Linux operating systems? Basically, we are actually seeing the history of Red Hat vendor. History of Red Hat vendor, how it different Red Hat vendor applications came into existence. Okay, here 3 applications, Red Hat version 1 to Red Hat version 9 were actually the free editions. Okay, Red Hat is the vendor which actually created this Red Hat version 1 to Red Hat 9. These are the totally free. You just have to get the CD, you can install it and work it. Okay, and later after the Red Hat 9, they stopped actually creating Red Hat 10 and Red Hat 11. They stopped their Red Hat 9 only. Later that Red Hat free versions were distributed in the name of Fedora. Now the current version of the Fedora 1, Fedora 2, like that. Currently Fedora 33 is running or 34 is running. Okay, this is from Red Hat, free editions from different free editions from Red Hat. Now coming to commercial editions. of Red Hat. Okay, RHEL 1 to RHEL 8 are the commercial. Current latest version of the commercial edition from Red Hat is Red Hat. RHEL means Red Hat Enterprise Linux 8. And we are here, we are going to today in our call, instead Durga Sort, in our course, we are actually going to see Red Hat 7 and Red Hat 8. Okay, these are the Red Hat commercial implementations from Red Hat vendor. And in the name are Red Hat 1 to RHEL 1 to RHEL 8. We are going to see in our current course, we are going to study Red Hat 7 and Red Hat 8, means RHEL 7 and RHEL 8. Okay, then we are coming to see what is the difference between a free edition and commercial edition. Okay, see here, we are having free edition, Red Hat 1 to Red Hat 9, Fedora 1 to Fedora 33. And the same thing in commercial implementation are RHEL 1, which is Red Hat Enterprise Linux version 1. Now currently Red Hat Enterprise Linux 8 is working. What is the difference between is, first the code or any application or code developed by Red Hat team or the vendor is first released as part of free subscription. Here you can see here. First, the code of the Red Hat Enterprise Linux, which is developed for enterprise application, will be released as part of free application in the format of Fedora. Means if a new application is developed by Red Hat team, suppose that won't be actually directly released in the commercial edition or RHEL. They will release it in Fedora version 33 or 34. This code of the application will be tested, made bug free. Then later the same code will be ported to commercial edition. First it will be released in the free edition. The coding is all tested, bugs are fixed, and then the commercial edition is released. Commercial format of the same code is released. Okay, free subscriptions actually have no support from the vendor. Means if you have any issue, any bug, or any problem, you can't raise a ticket. But for commercial applications, which actually have to purchase, means you have to have paid versions like RHEL 1 to RHEL 6. In case you are using, if you are paying them their money, then they will be giving you support. Means, for example, you can see here, small example I mentioned here. For example, if there is a crash in the file system, see some issue with the file system, is there any application related non-functioning, like applications are hanging or some bugs are there? Then you can actually raise a ticket with the Red Hat team. These people will be giving you updates or patches and even support if required. Okay, now you got to understand what is the Linux operating system history, what are the different vendors, and what are the different, from each vendor, what are the different editions. Means Red Hat, how it came into existence, and after came into existence, how the free editions were released, how the commercial editions were released, and what is the difference between a vendor released free edition and vendor released commercial edition. Okay, means free editions are free, there is no support. Commercial editions are paid and you get the support. That is the only difference. Okay, now you got to understand. So now I finish with any doubts. Devi Prasad, any doubts? Nikhil, Surendra, any doubts, man? Please, you can please ask. Any doubts till now? Any confusion or any doubts? Anything you have to? Please then. Okay, Dilip, any doubts, man? You can unmute your mic and speak. Nikhil, any doubts, man?
No, sir.
No, Nikhil, no doubts, na? Okay. Surendra, any doubt?
No, sir, no doubt.
Any confusion? You are getting what I'm saying?
No, sir.
You're getting what I'm saying? If no, you are getting what am I explaining?
Yes, sir, I'm getting, sir.
Okay, and don't worry, you will be getting all the documentation. You don't need to write anything. This will be passed on to you. Okay, no need to worry. All the notes will be given. Okay. Okay. So okay, see, now we got to understand different vendors of Linux operating system, and from each vendor, what are the different editions of the Linux operating system release, like free edition, commercial edition. Okay. Okay, see here. Now we got to understand different. Okay, see now we have seen what is the history of Unix, because our today demo session we have seen these things. So okay, sorry. Okay, now we have seen today we were started with these things. Today's class objectives are these things. We have seen software classification, OS classification, history of Unix, and these things. Now we will see what is the components of Linux operating system. How is the component? What is the internal components of the Linux operating system? Now we are going to see. Okay, see how the Linux operating system works. What are the different internal components of a Linux operating system? That is what we're going to see. Okay. Any Linux or a Unix operating system has been made of three components here. Any Linux or Unix operating system has been made up of three components. First component is kernel. Okay, first component built on which is kernel. Next component is shell. Third component is other utility commands and other applications like database application. You can be Oracle database, DB2, MySQL, any other database or any other utility. Okay, so we can say Linux operating system is totally made of kernel plus shell plus and utilities. It can be user defined utility and other utilities. Okay, now we will see what is this kernel, what is this shell, what is this utility, and how they coordinate in order to give you to the total operating system. Okay, what are the functionality of these things we are going to see here. So now I'm showing you a pictorial diagram. I'm showing you a pictorial diagram of components of a Linux operating system. What is this in the center? You can see there is a hardware. Hardware can relate to, it can be a processor. Hardware can be, you can tell hardware as a processor, and hardware can be a printer. It can be any input output device which is like keyboard, mouse, touchpad, anything. It can be a screen, means your display screen, anything can be hardware, LAN card. These are the hardware. Okay, these are the other input output devices are hardware. Okay, in order this hardware to be function, they can't understand your high level language which you use. So they need something to convert this high level language to hardware level language. Kernel is the one. Kernel, as you can see here, I'm showing you. Kernel is the one which is actually directly interacting with the hardware. Kernel is the core of the operating system. We can say kernel is the one which actually directly interacts with the hardware. It is the core of the operating system. Above the kernel, you can see there is a shell. You can see here there is a shell. Here, shell is a very prominent part of the operating system. It is called the command line interface or command line interpreter, because above shell you are having other shell utilities and applications installed. Applications can be database. As you can see here above applications are executed using users. As you can see here, user 1, user 2, user 3 here, user 4 are many number of users, because this is a multi-user multitasking. Okay, and each user is running his or her own applications, multiple applications. Applications can be a database application, web application, project, it can be internet access or any other thing. Okay, and any other command, it can be a firewall application, it can be a dynamic firewall, it can be a SE Linux, everything are our applications, okay, which are built upon shell. Because these applications are written in high level language, these application code has to be interpreted to kernel in the format of zeros and ones. Kernel understands only zeros and ones. Low level language, these applications are written in high level language. These applications are actually interpreted by the shell. Shell is the command line interpreter. It takes the application, converts into command kernel understandable format. Application is taken over by shell. Shell will be actually converting into kernel understandable format, and kernel then takes over and makes the hardware work for you. Maybe taking a printout, maybe actually communicating over the internet. I think I gave you any doubts regarding hard architecture of Linux operating system. What are the components and hard architecture? Any doubts you can please ask. Dilip, Devi Prasad, any doubts you can tell.
No doubt, sir.
Okay, any doubts on architecture you can ask me. Okay, this class will be little boring because these are the things not much required. This class is just a formality or just taken because it has to be taken because so okay. So this is the one question, sir. Practice, sir. We need a laptop. Okay. So Devi Prasad has given me a doubt. See, so Devi Prasad is having a doubt which I am actually displaying here. What is the doubt is here? Okay, doubt of Devi Prasad is here. I am just displaying because this is an important one. Okay, this is he saying, sir, practice purpose we need a laptop, but I have a laptop of AMD 4GB 1TB. Is it enough? No, answer is you need to increase the RAM to at because at LEASP. Devi Prasad, you got the answer?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
thing is that just not the AMD processor, you need a good configuration. At least 40,000 rupees laptop which we actually get in the market with 8 to 12 GB of RAM, we need. Okay, 8 to 12 GB of RAM because here you can see I am implementing the thing in VMware virtualization. See, I am showing you this is my VMware CentOS installed on VMware. In order to work with all these things because this is our DurgaSoft code. When we are installing this networking topic, in order to implement this Linux networking topics, we need to open at least 2 or 3 VMs to work. If you are working with a DNS server, we need one for DNS server. Apache web server, we are implementing one for Apache and one for testing as a client. So in order to open 2 VMs or 3 VMs parallelly here, because I have opened only one VM here, see here. Other VMs are like this here. You can see now.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So in order to open multiple VMs, you have to have good processor and RAM. Okay. Maybe
Okay,
the
sir.
4GB is able to take one VM. You can open one virtual machine. But
Okay,
in
sir.
order to open multiple virtual machine and practice, you need to have better RAM in the processor. Okay. I think you got the answer.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, now we will see next thing of the thing. What is the thing? Now you got to understand what is the architecture of a Linux operating system. What are the different components made from Linux? How the Linux operating system is constructed. You can see Linux is based on kernel, shell, and utility. Okay. Now we will see. This is the last 5-10 minutes. I will finish up this kernel, shell, and utility. Then the next demo session will continue from tomorrow. Okay, because we are already at 9:16 it is. I'll finish up this Linux and kernel and all. Later this will be again repeated also tomorrow. Basically you will brush up all the yesterday's thing and then continue with the next demo session tomorrow. Okay, see here. So now we will see what is a kernel because OS is made of kernel, shell, and utility. Now we will see what is the kernel and what are the tasks or the properties we can say of the kernel. Kernel is a logical mechanism of OS called the heart of the OS. Okay, heart of the OS because this is the one which directly interacts with the hardware. You can see here I have made a notes of this. It is one which directly interacts with the hardware. Shell or other utilities cannot interact with the hardware directly. It needs kernel. Okay, what is kernel made of? We can say kernel is made up of OS device drivers and system calls. And what are the system calls? System calls are low level functions. System calls are very low level functions. Okay, which actually help in interacting with the operating system or hardware. Okay, system calls are low level functions. I made a note here. You can see. Using system call, kernel used to manage files, users, memory, etc. Now we will see what are the tasks of the kernel. What is the kernel doing and what are the tasks of the kernel. different users who are logging it. Any user, because Linux operating system is a multi-user multitasking. Means multi-users are connecting. Who is going to provide the login to this multiple users? User management. This is done using kernel. Means multiple users are managed using kernel. And each user is being a multitasking operating system, because I told Linux is a multitasking and multi-user. Each user will be actually doing multiple tasks, like executing a program, executing a Java code, or executing some database, or internet surfing, or any project. That single user will be executing multitask. Who is actually going to actually see this all these things? Kernel is the one who actually manages the memory. Different memory processes are actually managed by kernel. And whenever these tasks are being created by users, multiple tasks or multiple users, these tasks have to be executed on CPU. There is only one CPU or multiple CPUs. Who is going to actually give this task being executed to the CPU? Kernel is the one who is actually going to take care of these processors. Whenever a user is creating a task, the kernel creates a process for it. A process is created for each and every task, and each process has to be scheduled on the CPU. Who is going to take care? Which process has to be allocated to the CPU, and how much time? Like time sharing between processors. This all will be done by kernel. Kernel will CPU manage the CPU. Memory, it manages disk, it manages all other input output devices. Actually, you can see here in the thing, CPU management, memory management, see here. Disks and device input output device management, everything will be taken care of kernel. Kernel is the one core of operating system. Processors are created whenever a user is creating a task. A process will be created by kernel, and this process has to be executed by on the CPU. There are multiple processors waiting for the CPU. Who is going to take care of which process to be allocated? Or process management, everything is taken care of kernel. Control execution of process, control processes, scheduling processes fairly for execution on CPU. Means multiple processors waiting in line to be executed on CPU. Which process should be given how much time and when? That all will be taken care by the kernel. Allocating memory, because the process needs some memory to be allocated in order to be executed. That memory is also taken care by kernel. Now I gave you idea what is a kernel and what are its tasks, like CPU management, processor management, input output device management, memory management. These are the things. Okay. After that, now see, shell. Shell is the interface between the user and kernel, because kernels understand low level language and the applications are written in high level language. Who is actually interpreting this high level content? See here, I have written user requests are going to shell. Here you can see here I'm highlighted the picture. User request something. That request reaches the shell. Shell takes care how to interpret the command, user command to kernel. Kernel will execute it on hardware and return back to shell. Shell return back the request or the output to user. Okay, shell is a interface between the user and kernel. Shell is a command line executor. Means shell takes the user given some request, some command to do something. Shell takes over. Shell interprets this high level command to kernel understandable format. Here I have highlighted. Later, then the kernel executes this required on the hardware. Okay, small example. Whenever the user gives a print request to the printer, the request is taken over to the shell. Shell interprets the command or the process to the kernel. Kernel then directly speaks to the printer and prints it. And output then be generated from the printer. This is how the user requests are interpreted by shell, because kernel directly doesn't understand user requests in high level language. Okay, this is how the shell is there. So, and one more question my Devi Prasad has asked. Nikhil, what is the first question? What is the RHEL is asking? Nikhil Sahane is asking question. What is RHEL? Okay, this is what Nikhil asking. Full form of RHEL is Red at enter I think Nikhil, I think you got the answer. Nikhil is asking what is RHEL? Full form is Red Hat Enterprise Linux. Commercial version from Red Hat. Okay, this is my answer. Okay, next question, Mr. Okay, next question is from Devi. This is the question from Devi. See here. We Okay, Devi has asked, this is a question. Can we use RHEL 7 for free or not? Yes. Yes, we can use it, but use it for free. But you do not Okay. Answer. Devi, have you got the answer? Devi, have you got the answer?
I got the answer.
See, RHEL software can be downloaded. You can get the operating system in the format of ISO or CD image. You can install it. But if there is any bug, if there is any problem, suppose you want to actually install some software on RHEL, already free software is there in the CD or ISO image. So if you want to have extra software which is required for you to work, then you can't download it from RHEL, means Red Hat team. You have to pay them license, then only they will release that software.
Okay.
Okay, whenever you require some patch, some software you require which is working for the Red Hat team, you are working. So if you are not paying for the RHEL, you can work it. It will work. You can do everything. But whenever you need some support or you want to download a specific package which is required for your application to work, then you can't download it. Solution. See here, solution. David Prasad, solution for it. See here, download and use CentOS software. CentOS 7 OS. It is free. Free and support also free. Okay, got it? Instead of RHEL 7, if you use CentOS 7, you can download it for free, and any patches or updates are also free. In case any application download required for your application to work extra, that is also free.
Okay.
Same as, and it is a ditto copy, 100% copy of RHEL 7, released in the name of CentOS. Getting? Devi.
Yes, sir.
CentOS, RHEL you are using, you have to pay. Freely you can use, but no support. RHEL is directly copied as CentOS 7 because you know RHEL or anything has to actually freeware and open source. So CentOS people have taken the same RHEL 7 code and released in the name of CentOS. CentOS stands for Community Enterprise Linux. CentOS. What is the OS name? Community Enterprise Linux OS. Okay, totally free, same ditto copy of RHEL 7. You can actually take the code of RHEL 7 or configuration settings of RHEL 7, port it to copy it to CentOS 7 server and run. Exactly, it will run, no issue. And it is totally free, and all the applications, means you will get repository, free repositories in CentOS 7. RHEL 7 repositories are not free. If you want to download anything from RHEL repository, you have to pay. It is not free. But CentOS 7 repositories are all free, and it is a ditto copy of RHEL 7. Okay, got the answer? Solution mil gaya?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Today we will end here. Nikhil, I have showed you what is the meaning of RHEL, which is Red Hat Enterprise Linux Operating System, and it is a commercial version from Red Hat team or Red Hat vendor. Okay, Nikhil. Any doubts? We are going to end our session today. Tomorrow we will brush up the things again. These things will be brushed up again, and tomorrow we will be continuing with the other tasks which were actually been pending, like these things. See, these things are pending. We have finished software classification. We have finished OS classification. We have finished history of Linux and US. We have finished the architecture and components of the kernel and all the things. And we have even finished what are the Linux different vendors of Linux operating system and Linux distributions, vendors and distributions, versions and flavors. And we have seen what is the task of the kernel, what is the task of a shell, and how the command execution takes place. Tomorrow these all will be brushed up again, and we are going to see from tomorrow different types of shells, features of Linux operating system and other things. Tomorrow is a very important thing. We are going to see Linux installation and file system hierarchy also. Very important. Please attend tomorrow. Okay. Any doubts for the last time? Any doubts you can tell me, or I will end the session today. Any doubts? You can unmute your mic and speak orally. Nikhil, any doubt? Dilip, any doubt? Nikhil, any doubt? Nikhil, any doubt?
Hello.
Dilip, any? Hello. Tell me, Nikhil.
Yes, sir. So tomorrow class time
8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. Same time.
8 o'clock. Okay.
Did you understand what I told today? What I explained today?
Yes, sir.
And this all don't need to write these notes and all. You will be passed on with the notes and all. Don't worry. This will be passed on to you. Basics of the things will be passed on. Remaining you have to write later. Okay. Tomorrow we will brush these things again. Tomorrow I'll repeat these things just to brush up the things. Later we will go into shells and the features of Linux operating system, and we will see tomorrow hierarchy. What is the Linux file system hierarchy and how is it different from Windows file system hierarchy? Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. This is the end of the class.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir.
See you tomorrow, 8 o'clock. Demo session continues. Tomorrow demo session will continue. Second demo session will continue. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.